Very simple. Budgeting, budgeting, budgeting. Recheck your budget and find the right team. But the main thing is the budget. The second last slide you shared as to, that 800 hours, $120,000. So 800 hours divided by 120,000, that's $150 per hour. That's an expensive hour you're buying. So exactly what they are doing and why it is that. So at the end of the day, doesn't matter how good your technology is, doesn't matter how good your people are, the money has to be there, and money has to be spent very carefully. Otherwise, as you said, your trial will not finish, and because you ran out of the money. So that is my biggest concern. And I learned a lot from this 5-day event. So thank you so much for sharing. You're being very candid. You're being very logical. You're being very critical of yourself and your or industry, which is very good. That brings a lot of confidence in your organization, how you present it. So we appreciate that.
So, Luca, why don't you tell us what would you do different for your trials?
I mean, only my opinion, but first of all, I have to agree that the candidness was very nice. It was nice to get a very raw. It was 5 days, so it was a lot of information you give, but it was very raw and candid, which I appreciate. It allows us to discern on our own. But what I would actually change, at least my opinion, again, I have to talk to the CEO, I have to talk to Doc, but recruitment costs, particularly when you're doing your trials internationally. You know what I mean? That's one thing that it's not like we just brought it up. It was just at the end of this discussion. You'd like to think that if you go to Latin America, you might save some money. But of course, there's a lot of shortcomings, and you have to make sure all your data's there. You have to make sure everything was done properly and under control. And I can see how that could be a little bit of a moving target in terms of cost. But then furthermore, it was the recruitment. As I was thinking about it, you got to pay a lot of attention to that, because it's one thing to recruit in the United States through a physician network. Now you got to recruit in Honduras. Do they trust Americans, etc.? So.
Yeah, recruit. People do go outside the country for recruitment. The main reason you go outside the country because there's so few people to recruit from here. 90+% people, when they don't even get access to trials, that's a pretty bad situation. But I'll tell you, if you compare to other countries, in many countries, the number is even smaller than that. I mean, here we're talking of at least 5, 7, 10% people getting, which still translates to millions of people who are participating in trials. If you go to other countries, it's even lesser than that. Many places it's even smaller percentages. You have an advantage because you can spend more money, particularly because of the dollar being so strong. But it also sometimes works against you. Most countries have policies to discourage outside companies coming and throwing money at the people and basically literally bribing people to be on a trial. And most people have protectionist policies for that reason. To protect their populations. But yes, I mean, we do end up, sometimes there is no other option. If you have a patient population you can't recruit here, you end up going out. And there are a lot of trials done in other countries for that reason, by American country. I agree with you that you have to balance it out. Because in the end, I also said if your trial takes too long to complete, that also will end up costing you too much money.
Yes.
So you have to also think about that. Do I want to do this trial for 4 years or want to finish it in a year? So sometimes, even spending more money is justified by that account. Maribeth.
Yes. So one of the things is for two things. Patient recruitment, usually are you not going to like major medical universities where they already have that patient population ready for recruitment versus going to a private clinic so that's one.
Well,
And then two, just my experience in research is that training, that everybody is on the same page, everybody is communicating, everybody understands what their job is, because if they do, then you're going to avoid those mistakes and errors that can arise, in important documentation. But that, as far as that patient recruitment, because that was the thing you were saying that could be the most costly is you have slow recruitment. So wouldn't it be wiser just to actually target your the universities that already have that patient population? Like in cystic
It
fibrosis,
would
you know,
seem so. Yeah,
we
if
have
it's
10 major medical universities or CF centers. So you already have those patients there.
yeah. So okay, while it may seem that it's a easier solution, the problem is everybody's going to the same places. So those places have a lot of competition for those patients. So everybody thinks the same thing. Everybody goes to the
Yeah,
same places. So you have those academic centers that have too many trials that they're doing. The patients are distributed across multiple trials. And so they can't, I mean, large medical centers are the worst in recruiting patients because they have so many people going there. They have celebrity doctors, celebrity investigators. People know them very well. They publish really well. So yes, they have a lot of patients, but they also have a lot of trials going on over there. Actually,
I
that's the
see.
problem we have in this country. That we have large medical centers that have always traditionally participated in trials, but 90% of patients don't go to those large medical centers. So you end up losing 90% of patients who don't go to those centers, who go to private clinics, who go to, like, look at it like this. Like in Washington, D.C. area where I live, there are about 30 large hospitals. I would say 10 of them are really large hospitals and 20 of them are like medium, like those are on the larger side. They're associated. We have 11 universities around here. So every university has a medical school and they have large centers. So, but there are close to around 800 plus clinics, okay, where people go all the time. So when you talk about it, that's about 20 times more number of centers that I'm not sending my trials to. So actually, there is a initiative by FDA and Duke University. It's called Clinical Trial Transformation Initiative (CTTI). They run a lot of programs, lot of training programs also. They actually they have done research on it to find what is the main reason for slow recruitment in the country. And again, seems logical. Access to clinical trials is the big reason. People don't know about clinical trials. They don't have access. So they have been talking about recruiting new doctors, new sites, creating new sites. Because if we could convert those 97% doctors who don't participate in trial, even if you could convert 3% of those doctors to be in trials, we've doubled our number of patients, number of sites. It's that big. If right now you have 3% doctors participating, if you get 3% doctors, only 3 out of 100 doctors, if you convince them to be in clinical trials, you've doubled the number of people available for your clinical trials. So we have that problem with recruitment. So we going to new people, doing trials, if you are a doctor and you have some ideas, you want to do trials, I would say try to do trials in your own clinic. You would be surprised as to how efficient it could end up being. Again, I mean, everything comes with its challenges and you need to know what you're doing, but it could be very promising.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I know we have gone 10 minutes over time today. Today is the last day. Everybody have a great Friday, great event, great weekend. Hopefully we'll interact with you more sometime soon. But for now, everybody, all the best with your trials. Bye for now.
Thank you, Mukesh.
Thank you, everyone.